The Rebbeinu Shalom tells Moshe, Daber no ba'oznei ha'am, v'yishalu, ish me'is re'eyu, v'isha me'is re'usa, klei kesef v'klei zav. So Rashi says, what's the no? Avraham Avinu shouldn't say, that V'avodam v'inu oisam, he was Mekayim, and V'achakach yitzu b'chush gadol, the Rebbeinu Shalom wasn't Mekayim, so make sure they empty out Mitzrayim. And the pasuk says, "Vayte vayiten Hashem eschein ha'am be'enim Mitzrayim." And the Rebbeinu Shalom gave a bezuder echein to Klal Yisrael in the eni of Mitzrayim and the eyes of Mitzrayim. Gam haish Moshe gadol ma'oid be'eretz Mitzrayim be'enei avdei parei u'be'enei ha'am. And Moshe Rabbeinu was gadol ma'oid be'enei avdei parei u'be'enei ha'am. It's just a beautiful meshech chachma. Just he says, what's the pshat of the pasuk? It says, "Be'eni avdei parei ve'eni ha'am." It says you find sometimes the amas hamida, the measuring stick of godless. There's two ways for a person to become a gadol. Sometimes you have someone that the decides, he gives brachas and things happen, and and the starts talking, and after the starts talking, the real gedolim hear that he must be great. If everyone's saying he's a great person, and that's how he becomes great. Said, but the real way to become great are the ones that chashuvim are makir, and it's a great person, and that's where it starts, and it goes that way, it goes downwards. And he says that's the pshat. It says that Moshe Rabbeinu was gadol me'oid be'eretz Mitzrayim be'enei avdei parei be'enei ha'am. It started from the gedolim, and the gedolim record was makir, the godless of Moshe, and it went downward that way, and that's how the chavrei was a gadol. But it's interesting, we all know the Kotzker Rebbe, famous word of the Kotzker Rebbe by the Meraglim. It says, V'niyu be'einenu kechagavim, that he says, what was the problem of the Meraglim? The Meraglim was that they looked at the end of the Goyim to tell them that that's how they reckoned if they were chashuv. That means they were kechagavim, they were like nothing. Be'eineihem, that they reckoned with someone else. Not only they reckon with someone else, but to reckon with Goyim, that's going to be Kaveh episode. It's godless. So what's Pashup Pshat? The Pasuk is saying that Moshe Rabbeinu was Gadol, Be'enei Avdei Parei, Be'enei Ha'am. The Be'enei Avdei Parei, I'm saying, it's a beautiful thing. He was a great person in the Eni Mitzrayim, but we're talking about Goyim over here. Who's reckoning with their Kaveh? So really the Seder of the Pasuk is interesting. It says the Rebbeinu Shalom told him to get Klei Kesef, Klei Zav from the Mitzrayim. And it says, "V'yiten Hashem eschein ha'am be'enim Mitzrayim." Gam ish Moshe gadol ma'oid. What's the continuation of the pasuk? So I saw the Sephorna says that what's the continuation? Zok the Sephorna, Gam ish Moshe gadol ma'oid be'enei avdei parei ve'enei ha'am. Zok the Sephorna, Ulechvoido yihirbu lahashel. That means the Torah is telling us over here, Moshe Rabbeinu was told to tell Klal Yisrael to go borrow from the Mitzrayim. That you know why they lent Klal Yisrael? Because Moshe Rabbeinu was so mechubed in their eyes, so they're coming from the nation that Moshe Rabbeinu was in charge. They said, of course, we'll lend you, you're from Moshe Rabbeinu's people. So it's a continuation of explaining why the Mitzrayim would eventually empty out their pockets and lend Klal Yisrael and give them the Klei Kesef and Klei Zav. So the Shaila that's going to blind is, it's interesting. So come to Chais, that Klal Yisrael was able to empty out the Mitzrayim with a natural thing. That means Moshe Rabbeinu was Gadol Me'oid Be'enei Avdei Parei Ve'enei Ha'am, and that allowed them to go borrow from the Mitzrayim. The pasuk says, "Vayiten Hashem eschein ha'am be'enei Mitzrayim," that there was a tremendous ness over here that the Rebbeinu Shalom gave the chein ha'am. The Rebbeinu Shalom made the Mitzrayim love Klal Yisrael, gave them a bazunder chein that should allow them to be able to empty out Mitzrayim. And eventually, when it says Taka, they borrowed from the Mitzrayim, they took the Klei Kesef, Klei Zav. It says again, "Vayiten Hashem eschein ha'am," that the Rebbeinu Shalom gave the chein ha'am. Over there, it doesn't mention Moshe Rabbeinu b'chlal. So, why was it necessary? What's the point of this Vayiten Hashem eschein ha'am be'enei Mitzrayim, if regardless they would have lent because they had it set up already in the system? Moshe Rabbeinu was great in their eyes, and anything that they asked, being that they're coming from Moshe Rabbeinu's arm, they would have done. So what's the point that the Rebbeinu Shalom had to give Chein Einei Ha'am Be'enei Mitzrayim? So I was thinking a short part like this. That we know the halacha is, Rabbi Rucham used to say that halacha Esav Seina Yaakov. Rabbi Rucham Levovitz Mashkiach Amir used to say that if you find a guy that doesn't hate a Yid, is a hakollel guy. He's a lazy guy. He's a lazy guy. It's a halacha, and if he's not a kind of halacha, he's lazy. That's the only reason. The natural instinct for a guy is to hate Klal Yisrael, to hate Yidden, Esav Seina Yaakov, and that goes over from father to son, and it doesn't need any brainwashing. You find all the time people are dealing with a tremendous problem, that brainwashing the kids to hate Klal Yisrael. It's all natural. It's something that they're born with. You don't have to do anything about, and we're in Golus, and there's nothing to do about that. And that didn't even change in Mitzrayim. That's going to change by the Golus HaSida, that they're all going to come and say that we did this for Klal Yisrael, that we love Klal Yisrael. But the natural way that things work in Golus is Esav Seina Yaakov. Esav hates Yaakov. Nervous. But in Mitzrayim you find a new thing. By Mitzrayim, not only they hated us, it says that Bnei Yisrael paru v'yishritzu v'yakutzu mepnei Bnei Yisrael. They were disgusted from Klal Yisrael. Now, disgust is another darga. There's another darga after hate. There's hate, and then there's disgust. Disgust is not part of the halacha Esav Seina Yaakov. And that the Mitzrim went ahead and they took that gewaldige chinuch that was inborn in them to hate Klal Yisrael, and they built on it, and v'yakutzu mibnei Yisrael, they had a tremendous level of cuts that they were disgusted in Klal Yisrael. The parasha over here from the Golus Mitzrayim, that Klal Yisrael was nigal, the Torah is being megalos to us, the way we go through Golus eventually, and the way we're going to be nigal. The pasuk says, I think they say over from the Goin, the pasuk right before, it says, this pasuk, it says, the Rebbeinu Shalom said, Daber no ba'oznei ha'am v'yishalu ish me'isra eyu v'ishu me'isra usa. The Gemara loses a pasuk, a lashon of re'eyu, your friend. The guy is not a friend of yours. The Gemara darshans re'eyu v'lo shel hegdish. Re'eyu is coming to Memai v'lo shel akum, but not a guy. We know whenever the Torah says the word re'eyu, it means not a guy. So what's the pasuk saying over here? Told Klal Yisrael v'yishalu ishmei Yisraelu v'ishmei Yisrael. Who's friends over here? Zok to goin what the Moshe, the Rebbeinu Shalom was telling Moshe Rabbeinu was that if you want the Mitzrim to lend Klal Yisrael, to be nice to Klal Yisrael, then it has to start within your own community. It's daber no ba'oznei ha'am v'yishalu ishmei Yisraelu. People should be doing chesed with each other, lending out things, helping out each other. And by helping out each other, that's the way that the Rebbeinu Shalom is going to go ahead. And it says, Vayitein escheina am be'enim Mitzrayim. You want the Mitzrim to have chen to you? We gave you an eitzah. The eitzah is you do chesed amongst yourself. If you do chesed amongst yourself, that's going to be mashpia, that the Rebbeinu Shalom is going to cause an unnatural phenomenon. Not only that this halacha Esav Seina Yaakov, they won't hate you, the Rebbeinu Shalom is going to cause a mitzias of Vayitein Hashem escheina am be'enim Mitzrayim. It will cause the Mitzrim to have chen to you, which is totally against their teva, which is totally against the natural phenomenon. So the Yesod is over here, the Rebbeinu Shalom wanted to shtel avek. Lamaisa, they're going out of Golus Mitzrayim, but this is the parasha of Lamaisa, of the going out of Golus HaSida as well. You want to know how to make it through Golus, how to be able to conquer everything that goes around us. Sometimes we have in business, we deal with Goyim Chesed, and they smile and they look like they're best friends. These chavrei hate us like not stam. Not stam. You're meeting with a banker, you're meeting whatever it is. They don't like us, regardless of all those fake smiles and whatever they tell us. We need eitzes. How do you deal with these people? We're in Golus, there's nothing to do, you're stuck. The eitzah is Dabel b'nei Yisrael v'yishalu ishmei Yisrael. We do chesed amongst each other, chesed amongst us. That the Rebbeinu Shalom creates a mitzias v'vayitein Hashem escheina am be'enim Mitzrayim, that the goyim themselves would have chen, and against their better judgment and against their natural instincts, they would do chesed with us. Shmishem b'zeicha to be mamshech. The gewaldige chesed that we do with each other, we come and we start our day with gewaldige hakollel. And this gewaldige hakollel, zeicha sein zu the Gula, see the Meir.